Hello, my name is Matt, and you're watching the ExpoTalks episode 4. And here with me, my colleague Irina, Public Relations Manager at ExpoFT, and we provide organizers with interactive floor plans. Hello, Irina.
Hey.
And today we're going to talk about successful digital strategies for trade shows with Nicole Bowman, Vice President of Marketing and Communications at IAEE, the Expo organizer. So welcome, Nicole.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great. I'd like to start with a question about, the actual topic and maybe a general view. So if you could please share some insights into the digital strategies your team has implemented to adapt to changing landscape of trade shows in general. How is that?
So, I've thought a lot about this question, and when you're implementing a digital strategy, I think that you have to look at how much does your trade show affect your overall association or brand. If it's a standalone product, there's a certain strategy for that. For us at IEEE, we have a digital roadmap strategy in place where we are looking at the entire user experience from the moment they come to the website to see what we're all about, excuse me, see what we're all about, to joining membership, then feeding members information based on their, personal preferences. And then the show, Expo is a physical manifestation of everything that we've done throughout the year, promoting member value to our communities. So I would say it's a bit of a complicated answer. But for us, we look at our AMS, our email management system. What are the different ways those things are going to integrate to create the most seamless user experience that we can offer?
And probably, Nicole, you can provide some example of a particular successful digital marketing campaign that your team executed for the last Expo or one of the expos you organized recently. Can you provide an example probably of
Sure.
this?
So I've kind of built on our digital strategies over the years because tech changes so much year over year. So one of the things that it's one of my go-to strategies is I use a company called Feather. Most people in the event space are familiar with Feather. It's one of my favorite products to use because I can do what's called a campaign flight. So I can do a keyword search, a retargeting campaign. I can do emails. It's integrated with our registration system. I can track it back to conversions and showcase ROI, which is, one of the hardest things to do as a marketer is to show that, I spent this money, I did these things, and here are the actual metrics from it. So it's nice to have that platform that looks at multiple different ways that I can get our brand out there to people that I wouldn't normally reach. So I use Feather for that. One of the things that I found was really successful, we started it years ago, was speaker spotlights. So in social media, we have this branded template for Expo that has, the speaker's picture, their name, their title, their company, when they're speaking, what they're speaking about. And the key with that is that anywhere that we put it out, we're tagging the company. Sometimes if we can tag the person, depending on the social platform that we're using. But that's really where we get a lot of impressions and additional social exposure is if we can, connect the company with the post and, provide some sort of key takeaway to get people excited about the event. And we've been doing it for so long now that speakers, they expect it. They'll contact the marketing department here at IEEE and they're like, when is my speaker spotlight going out? I need a copy of that. And so that's been really effective too.
Yeah, I can imagine when you text somebody like the company, it always wants additional public relations exposure. So yeah, exactly. I understand what you're talking about.
So as I mentioned, as technology is always changing and also, people's interests always changing as well. So, but we know that some things they get, what is the trending today might not be the trending tomorrow. So we understand that in general, social media is really important to this market, but I'd like to know more. What is the role that social media play in your digital marketing strategies? And if you have any notable trends, that you could mention for us here related to your work experience?
So I think that social media is very important. It's one of the most important things, at least for my role at IEEE. Um,
Hmm.
it is, you have to have multiple lanes to reach multiple types of people. We have members that span multiple generations. Each one of them like different platforms, some like
Hmm.
Instagram, some like LinkedIn. Twitter's not very bold for us anymore.
Hmm.
Facebook is coming back for us as a tool to market, but it's all about the brand exposure and it's about creating engagement. And there was a report that was done by CEIR, the Center for Exhibition Industry Research, back in, gosh, I think it might have been 2014 or 2015. It was a series called How to Grow Engagement. No, How to Grow Attendee Engagement.
Hmm.
And one of the key pieces in that is that, and is still true today, is that marketers will use an average of 14 different avenues or platforms or tactics to
Oh my God.
promote attendee acquisition. And it's absolutely true. So with social, I really look at, all right, if I'm going to send an email out to a group of people, is it going to be personalized or is it going to be mass media? Whatever the case may be, that email is going to go out. But then I have to have social that backs that up. And I can really get into, different lanes of content that we're really speaking to very, personalized communities. So we have large show organizers, we have mid show organizers, we've got women in exhibitions, young professionals. They all interact on social in a different way. And so we basically create these very personalized campaigns based on where we see our members are at. Because at the end of the day,
Hmm.
it's all about meeting your communities where they're at. So you have to figure out where they're at and then, go all in on those avenues.
I see. I'd like to ask one more question regarding this. So you, personally, do you like to stay tuned in social media to see what's going on and what are the trainings, or is something that you just do just for work? How is it goes that balance between the personal life and the professional life, trying to understand social media?
So I use social more than anything else.
Hmm.
At work, we manage multiple different accounts across, multiple platforms. And so I look at the data for our own posts. We use HubSpot as our marketing software platform. And so they have great reporting tools and analytics that will show me which channels drive the most web traffic, which channels had the most posts. I can look at competitors' posts. So I'm always looking on social to see what other people are doing. Why did that post from that competitor or that, sister organization or whatever the case may be, why did it get so much interaction? Why did it get so
Hmm.
many impressions? And then, I'll take that information and assimilate it and maybe come up with new campaigns. Or, I like to think that the greatest compliment is someone imitating you until they imitate you and do it better. So I'm
Hmm.
always looking at what other people are doing. What are their designs? What are they saying in their posts that are getting people to engage with them? So I use it a lot. And then, you come across things based on whatever you're following on Facebook or Instagram. Or whatever channel you like to use, you always get new ideas. Like you always have to be open to ideas and not just mindlessly scroll. So my brain
Hmm.
is always acting, it's always actively reacting to things that I see on social.
Paying attention on everything, what's going on. I see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I definitely don't use this way. I just turn my brain off and scroll the feed.
No, I understand completely what you're talking about because it's, I think, is what everybody does in marketing, public relations, because you have at the beginning a lot of ideas, but there comes a point when you need to find your ideas, when you need to find something probably you cannot think yourself, and that's
Hmm.
when this it's a moment when this it's not about like just scrolling, it's just about
Yeah.
like really finding inspiring ideas, or understanding, okay, we cannot do this because it's not our like sphere, but we can turn it like this, and it gives you another perspective. So it's actually a very useful tool. So I completely agree with you, Nicole. Yeah. And I would like to hear your opinion about, are there any specific trends or advancements in event technology that you believe will significantly impact the trade show industry in the coming years? So what are those event technologies that for you are the most influential and will be most influential during the next years?
You know, this is actually a very difficult question to answer, because that's like trying to predict the future. I can
Yeah.
say from my own experience that we used a company this year called Snowball. So they're influencer marketing, and when you poll organizers and marketers, when we survey our organizer members and marketers in the community, when I look at other people's stats and trends and insights from other companies, every year the biggest concern is always attendee acquisition and attendee growth. It doesn't matter if the economy is doing great, if it's doing bad, if we're in a pandemic, not in a pandemic anymore, it's always about attendee acquisition. And I think that the tech that's in place, like Snowball's influencer marketing, for me, it's very difficult to figure out who are influencers in the event professional space, because for us, I mentioned that we have large show organizers. Well, there are influencers in that space. We've got young professionals. There's influencers in that space. It's not always the Chip and Joanna Gaines of the retail world that are obvious influencers. So it's a little more different. It's difficult in the service industry, in the event space. So I really like that platform because it shows me, based on the campaigns that I've run, it shows me who has the most social influence, whether it's a speaker campaign, an attendee campaign, an exhibitor campaign. And that really allows me to go back and kind of like reformulate what I want to do next year. How do I want to engage those people, better, different, whatever the case may be. But now I have actual, proof or data that I can work off of based on that platform. I would also say that, the standard answer and, what is going to change the event landscape, I think is AI. How will it change it? I don't know. I know that from a marketer's perspective, I think that the creative community, the creative class, has the most pushback on AI, because I think I think there's going to be peaks and valleys in sentiment around AI. When you look at automated processes, production management, mechanical things, it's very visible. It's very easy to see where AI is making a difference. With creatives, I understand the pushback, because there are some things that you can automate and be more efficient. I've talked to my team about this. We're a team of 3, and we get a lot of work done. And if there's something that you can do, that you can just ask OpenAI or ChatGPT or whatever platform you want to use, if you can ask it to create something for you, and it's now reduced that task from an hour to 5 minutes, and then you've got to go back in and look at it from a human perspective and redo something, well, that's just saved you almost an hour. So I think that creatives are not going to like AI until they figure out how to govern it and regulate it and make sure that it's not destroying critical thinking skills.
So as we are talking about technologies, and yes, we can't actually predict the future, but we can talk about some experience we have. So could you please tell us about a bit about what event tech tools have proven to be the most efficient for your trade shows, or at least the most beneficial in enhancing effectiveness for your trade shows?
In the past, we've used heat mapping tools like beacons and things like that really show where people are moving around on the show floor, where they are clustering. This year, we used a technology by Zenus, is an AI company as well, where it could record sentiment based on attendee interactions and facial
Mm.
expressions. It was all anonymized, so there's, nobody's private information was given away, but we're
Mhm.
still collecting that data, but we can see how people felt on the show floor. So we can tie that back to, well, what was going on the show floor at that time? Was it an exhibitor booth activation? Was it something in one of the corners at an opening party? What was going on the show floor that made people happy, sad, mad,
Mhm.
elated, whatever the case may be. So I think that tools like that can track the underlying behaviors of attendees without actually having to ask them, how do you feel about this? I think you get a true reading of how someone felt at an event.
Nico, I wanna ask you something about like sponsorships and like partnerships, and how has this shift towards digitalization influenced sponsorship packages for trade show events? What strategies have proven successful in attracting sponsors, or if we're talking about digital marketing options? What probably were the most attractive for your potential sponsorship options that were more attractive for your attendees, for your potential sponsors? Tell us more about this.
We have a lot of different digital options for people in our community. And if I circle back to the comment at the beginning of this webinar when we talked about digital strategies and how does your digital strategy influence your organization and your show? It's the same with sponsorships. So if you have, and it's a two-way street. It's not here's all that we offer, XYZ company.
Mhm.
It's a two-way street. There's got to be a story and a plan from the potential sponsor. What are your goals and objectives? What are you trying to do? And then we offer digital solutions throughout the year where you could tell your story throughout the year through different platforms, whether it's a web ad or a blog, an article on our blog. You're telling the story throughout the year through those digital solutions, and then you end it with something in person. So you've told that story all year, and then you showcase whatever that story is at the event. So it becomes a whole like 365-day solution, in my opinion. Maybe you're not doing something every day, but you're keeping that company's brand out there across multiple
Mhm.
different channels, well, through the omni-channel mix, and then you're seeing it at the show. So I think that having digital solutions is, the perfect solution to driving new, non-dues revenue growth in associations.
Yeah, and I remember back in the days, because I was always working for one of the leading trade show organizers, and I remember back in the days, many years ago, it was mainly about the trade show itself and a little bit before it. And what has changed from my perspective, correct me if I'm wrong, but now it's really a 365 days a year campaign, and the company has more opportunities to showcase what they need. So that's actually a shift that I'm witnessing right now, and I'm really very glad, because everybody, both parts, receive benefits from this. And one more question about this: can you remember, probably we all know what are those digital options, but probably you can remember one like really, I don't know, unique, extra, not unusual digital option which you provided, which you offered to your sponsor, to your partner, probably something like really that made you feel like, yeah, we've made such an unusual thing. It's not a banner, it's not a pop-up ad, it's not whatever, I don't know, probably
Well, we
something.
did. So our budgets run from, this is just some backstory. Our budgets run from October 1 to September 30th. So we're always doing our budgets for the association in, May and June.
Mhm.
So I looked at, the sales team is always, coming to marketing and other departments and saying, well, where can we provide more options? What can we do? And we're in a very, unique situation here at IEEE where I created a marketing opportunity called Trade Shows and Trends, which looks at, it takes all of the strengths from IEEE and CEIR, Center for Exhibition Industry Research, which we manage that research foundation. So we offer an opportunity to write a thought leadership piece on our blog, and then we post it on social. So there's 4 to 5 different exposure opportunities there on IEEE. Then we ask, you know, that sponsor or that that advertiser to change the content a little bit, make it more focused around data and trends, telling a story about what they do, and then we post that on CEIR. So we cross market across both platforms and across all the different social channels. And it is a very unique opportunity that not a lot of people can offer because they're not as strong in social as we are. Because, you know, social is a long game. And blogs are a long game. You have to have consistent, good content, and you have to look at best practices and trends on all of those different platforms. You know, when should I be posting? How many times should I be posting? You know, what do people want to hear about? I mean, you've got to get out there and talk to your community and find out what they want to hear about. You can't just talk at people. You have to, you know, speak their language and, you know, provide them with something that's going to take their time away from something else to read something that you've done. So this omni-channel marketing opportunity, we just started it. I don't have the results from it yet, but it's gaining a lot of interest in our supplier or advertiser community.
We talked about, you know, many things regarding technologies such as, you know, capturing emotions and also AI usage. But I would like to know more about the impacts on the attendee engagement itself. So, in your opinion, how does integration to such digital technologies during trade shows has affected this attendee interaction, made them, you know, to be more engaged to the shows or not? How does that go?
So I personally think that the digital platforms that we offer, you know, the community platforms, the areas on our show app where people can go in and see who's attending, they can see what products are available. It presents a more informed attendee when they get to the show. So, you know, if they've already met somebody online in one of our communities, or they've already talked to an exhibitor in their digital presence in the show app, you know, they feel more comfortable on site. They've got a plan. They're not just showing up and just going to a bunch of booths. They've met people, they're familiar with products and services. And so they're a more informed attendee. And I think you get better engagement that way because they're just not so, you know, crazy and hectic on site, you know, just trying to go from place to place. They're informed. So I absolutely 100% think that, you know, digital technologies have, you know, created a more engaged event stakeholder.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel the same when I go to a show and I have some technology, good technology, um, to interact with, and I always, you know, not just randomly walking around and see what's going on. And also, I don't feel like I am missing something, you know. So I have all the information on my hands. I can see everything from there in a few minutes, build a plan like routes and so, and then I can enjoy better the show. But I also wanted to hear from from you.
I just also remember back in the days, trade shows when you had to find the booth of the company A, and it took you so much time to find it, and there were no technology, and you planned your visit to a trade show, but it was kind of difficult because you spent so much time, you lost so much time. So yeah, digital technology, it has become a stamp like digital transformation and all of this, but it's really that way. It really transformed this industry. And I myself, even as a visitor, a trade show, an exhibition visitor, I always enjoy how can I save my time without losing it on looking for the booth I need or the company to speak to. So yeah, totally. Thank you so much, Nicole, for being with us together and for sharing examples of working digital marketing strategies. And I hope that every listener and viewer of this webinar enjoyed this webinar and got some insights. Don't forget to like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if we have any suggestions on our next guest, on our next topic, please feel free to write in the comments below the video. Until next time, bye-bye.
Yeah. Oh,
Bye.
one more thing. We are at audio platforms as well, right?
Yeah, on Spotify. That's why I mentioned viewers and listeners. So it's not on.
Yeah. Okay. So in case you're driving, in case you are cooking, doing something, you still can stay tuned here at ExpoTalks. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Nicole.
Bye.
Bye.